This is He Knows His Sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. All right, this is what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the shenanigans with DeMarcus Cousins. I want to talk about the shenanigans going on all across the board, across the NBA. First and foremost, let's get to DeMarcus Cousins. All right, we already know the guy's a head case. The biggest thing with him is, and I think that this is part of his development, and this is what's going to take him to the next level, is that as long as he remains on the Sacramento Kings with no actual real guidance from a guy that can tell him how it is, and really when the guy does that, there's not going to be no ramifications that come from it, like a Doc Rivers or like a Phil Jackson or a Pat Riley type, or even a Greg Popovich, so to speak. If he played under somebody like that, then a guy of his superstar magnitude would be able to excel and get to the next level, because the problem with him is a discipline problem. DeMarcus Cousins needs to become more of a disciplined basketball player. What do I mean when I say discipline? I'm talking about his antics off the court, and I'm talking about how he approaches, his whole attitude on the court. No one is telling him to take away the veracity that makes him who he is. No one is saying for him to go away from being the player that plays with that aggression, that gets those double doubles, and gets blocks, every game. We want that part of his game to remain. But the biggest thing and part of his learning curve is he's going to have to learn how to become a more disciplined basketball player. Because the problem with him is he lacks discipline. When he gets that, and I believe the way that he's going to get that is through a mentor that's going to be able to tell him how it is, and nothing's going to happen to that mentor. And that mentor has every authority and power over him, so that he understands that there's a hierarchy in basketball. That when you have a coach, you got to listen to that coach. Or when you have a GM, you got to listen to that GM. And no matter how great of a player you are, like I've said in the last videos when I talked about LeBron, you still got to fall in the ranks, and you still got to not only, do what everybody else is doing, but you got to lead by example. And him being the leader of the team, he's not setting an example. That's why that team is dysfunctional, and that's why that team has leaps and bounds before they can really get to where they want to go to. Now, I want to talk about Stephen Curry being called overrated. I don't know who's talking this nonsense about Stephen Curry being overrated. Lest they forget, lest I'm going to have to remind them. All you got to do is look at the tear that this man has been on since the beginning of his NBA career. Forget the last 2 years. Just look at what he was doing even when he had ankle problems. Stephen Curry legitimately has dragged the Golden State Warriors into the playoffs every year for the last 4 to 5 years. No one wants to give that man his proper due and credit for that. But Stephen Curry is a legitimate superstar. And I know the knock on him is people want to say, oh, he didn't win an MVP. Oh, you know what I'm saying? He didn't win a finals MVP, so that doesn't legitimize his superstar. I don't know what they're talking about. Whoever says that nonsense doesn't know the game of basketball. The man can play ball. He can razzle and dazzle you. He can pull up from 50. The man can go to the basket at will. The man is a dribbling exhibition. Probably the second best after Kyrie Irving. I got Kyrie Irving maybe a little bit over him. But overall, Stephen Curry is a 50, 90, 40 guy. Like I said in past videos, there's only two guys in this modern day NBA that's been able to put up those stats. That's him and that's Kevin Durant. So let's put everything in perspective. And mind you, they're on the same team. So this is why I know that without a doubt, Golden State Warriors is going to whoop the Cavaliers in 5 games. I got them beating the Cavs in 5, because you got two superstars of that magnitude, of that high order on the same team. It's too much for the likes of a LeBron James and a Kyrie Irving and those guys. Plus, they got Klay Thompson. Plus, they got Draymond Green. They are actually better than what the Miami Heat was. The Miami Heat at that time was a big three. They were considered the Heatles. This is what you call a superstar 4. So you guys can come back, comment, and say that, hey, if something happens, I was wrong by saying this, by saying that, but you'll see. And this is He Knows His Sport. Checking out.